Another great question here. Why can Candid Pro use fewer or no attachments than the competitors?
Looking back into my history of aligner therapy, early on, no attachments were available. Then all of a sudden, attachments started to become available. And then all of a sudden, a ton of attachments were there. And, like you, I hated using them. My staff hated putting them on. My patients hated them because they didn't feel comfortable when the aligners were out while they were eating. So we all don't like them. And so what we want to do is find a way to minimize them, or at least to minimize or not have any, because we all hate them. And
Mhm.
this is where Candid Pro really comes to play, because we have designed a straight trim design to allow us to gain more tooth surface area so that we can actually move the teeth with fewer attachments, as well as the fabrication accuracy of our aligners. We are able to get better adaptation so that we can get full contact of the aligner to the tooth. So what I'm talking about by the straight trim design, you can see that we do not scallop around the teeth, but we're about a millimeter, millimeter and a half above the gingival margins. Enables us, excuse me, I'm going to come back to that, but this enables us to use this particular surface, these embrasure surfaces of the teeth that we really cannot get with the scallop trim. And so we're seeing that, wow, these almost act like attachments themselves. Yeah, the scallop trim is right at the gingival margin, but for me, when I was using scallop trim aligners, gosh, halfway through, that aligner really was pulling away from the gingival and was really losing contact with the tooth. So the straight trim can seriously take advantage of those embrasure spaces. So I love that. Now, let me go back to the trim again. I didn't mean to pass this up, but I just want to share with you this study, and it's an old study. It was done in 2012 when it talked about the gingival margin design of aligners. What trim design is more effective than others? This is taken straight from the study, and here's our conclusion. They compared in the middle view, excuse me, before I read the conclusion, I'm sure you've read it already, but you can see the scallop trim. They studied that. They studied right at the gingival margin, and then they studied at a 2 millimeter above the gingival margin. And here's our conclusion that the most effective retentive aligner uses a straight margin cut at 2 millimeters above. So the more retentive we can be, the better contact the aligner will have with the tooth, therefore helping move that tooth where it should be. Okay, the third area that really helps us to use fewer and no attachments is the accuracy of our aligner fabrication. And this is, I think, where Candid Pro really has its strength, because we get up to 96 microns of accuracy of our aligner against the 3D printed models. This is, 50+% more accurate than our competitors. The more accurate we are, the better the retention is going to be and the better adherence to the tooth. And as I said before, the better retention, better adherence, the better movement we can have, or the higher efficiency we can have as the teeth are being moved.